Mikaela Lynn with the APT News Network. Today we're with Shannon Burke to discuss women in fitness. Hi Shannon.
Hello.
Thanks so much for taking a minute out of your training session
Not
to
a
talk
problem.
to me. First of all, can you tell me, how did you wind up in powerlifting?
Yeah, I've been working out in the gym and lifting for a little bit over a year now. I had been originally in it trying to lose weight, doing cardio and all that nonsense, and I hated it. Started lifting and I loved it. And I'd have people coming up to me in the gym saying like, "Oh, are you a powerlifter?" Because I was lifting like a pretty good amount of weight. And I didn't know what that was, so I Googled it and I found my coach here at AMP, and he's been training me ever since.
That's amazing. So you said you started at the gym a year ago. Before that, were you involved in any sports?
When I was younger, my parents had me involved in like the soccer, softball, all of that, but I really didn't like it. I've never been competitive. I've never really been athletic. I still have a hard time like realizing like, oh, I'm an athlete. So I was never really into sports before this.
Okay. So you said you've been powerlifting now for about a year. Have you competed?
Yes, I've been in about 3 or 4 competitions now, and my first competition was actually just about a year ago, last October.
That was your first?
Yes.
Tell me about your first competition.
It was terrifying. I had to drive upstate. We left at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Luckily, I had like my teammates there to help me out. They had warned me beforehand that I was going to be nervous. But it was actually really awesome. I squatted 310 pounds, and I broke a record in my first competition, which was insane. That's probably
so
like the best day of my life. That was awesome.
And what about your most recent competition?
My most recent was also pretty awesome. I've been struggling to hit a 400-pound squat, and I've been training really hard to get that squat, and I finally got it last month. So I actually hit 405.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
So you said you've been working really hard to get there. Can you tell me a little bit more about what your training looks like?
Yeah, luckily I have my coach to program everything. It's usually a couple of months between cycles, and we start off with a lot of volume, then we have a peaking phase where we transition to lower volume and heavier weights, and then I get my knees wrapped, so that's when I start getting knee wraps on and getting really heavy with the lifts.
And do you focus on your nutrition? What does that look? How does your nutrition
I actually struggle with my nutrition because I do love eating junk food, but I've actually gotten a lot better with it. And I recently, for my last competition, I cut 19 pounds in a month to get into the weight class that I wanted. So
how did you do that?
Just by tuning into my nutrition a lot more than I had been. And really, I wouldn't have been able to do it without all the support from everyone. They all know what it's like to have to try to make a weight class, so they're able to help me along the way.
So even though powerlifting is more of an individual sport, do you find that the camaraderie helps?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And even in the competitions, the people that you compete against, they're always going to be cheering for you when you're lifting. It's the greatest feeling ever.
So you said that when you were younger, you were in soccer and softball.
Yeah.
Have you competed in anything else since then? Have you been involved in any other sports?
No, my coach is trying to get me into strongman because one of the girls that I train with is getting involved in the competitions. So he's trying to get me into that, and we'll see where that goes.
How do you feel about that?
I'm not much into conditioning, and that's a lot of conditioning. But the strength is there. I just have to really get used to the different workouts. But we'll see about that.
Do you now, or as a child, did you have any specific role models that you really looked up to that helped you get where you are?
As a child, I can't remember any role models that I've had. But now, having like the community on the internet of all the powerlifters, I look at these women squatting 500, 600 pounds, and it's just incredible. So I really look up to basically anyone in the sport because they all have to go through the same struggles, and it's really inspiring.
Shannon, if you could sit down and have a conversation with yourself at 12 years old, is there anything in particular you would want to tell her?
I would definitely tell myself to stop worrying about what other people think. I think that's like the most important thing. I've always struggled with that. And now in this sport, you really find not only the physical strength, but the mental strength and the confidence, and it was just not there before. So if I had known that I could accomplish what I have, then I would have gone so much further, so much younger.
And Still talking to that 12-year-old version of yourself, taking into consideration the trends now in the fitness industry and the media in general of photoshopping models, fitspiration, finspiration, what kind of conversation would you have with yourself regarding these?
I would tell myself to stay away from it because it can really have a negative impact on you mentally. And I know that I've struggled with that, being exposed to it before I got into the powerlifting. But now I see it and I just laugh at it. And I know it's just not something that you should be looking at.
How would you say powerlifting has changed your outlook?
It's definitely made me realize that you can really accomplish anything that you work hard for. And it's exhausting and it's painful and I cry a lot, but you learn from it, you get stronger mentally and physically, and you know that you can accomplish whatever you want.
Shannon, is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
I don't think so.
Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us today.
You.
For the APT News Network, this is Mikaela Lynn signing off.